All right, in this video, I'm going to talk about one thing that you actually, if you do it properly every single time, you will see at least a 10x in your results or your output, whatever you're trying to get. So, what I want to talk about today is actually feedback systems and how important feedback systems are. So, I'm going to give you a basic example, and I'm going to try to articulate it as simply as possible. So, let's say you're trying to learn ads or any skill. You're putting in time initially and you're going through a process, whether you know it or you don't know it, but you're going through a process. You're going through maybe learning how to run ads, maybe having a coach, or maybe you're going through a program where you're just testing and running ads yourself. And you're going through this process, you're putting in time, and then you're getting an output, which is, in this case, would be return on ad spend. Is the return on ad spend good, or is your return on ad spend bad? This over here is you have an input, you have a process, and then you have an output. This is, in engineering terms, it's called a control system, and it's called an open control system, and I'll get into why. There's two types of control systems, open and closed, and this is going to break down what is the most important one. So when you have this, at this point, input, process, and output, you're just collecting data. All you're doing is collecting data, and collecting data is one of the four things you can do with data. So with data, you can create data, you can read data, you can update data, you can delete data. So when you have something just input, process, and output, all you're doing is creating data. You're not doing any reading, you're not doing any updating, you're not doing any deleting. And these three is what allows data to be the most valuable, because you can give any piece of data to anybody if they just have it. They don't do anything with it. If they don't manipulate the data, they're not going to get any benefit out of it. So remember what I was talking about before. This is called an open loop system, where you have an input, you have a process, and you have an output. This is extremely important. This is the first step. Where the 10x return comes up, and 10x is on the lower end. It could be 100, it could be 1,000. Where it comes up is that when you take the output and you start to actually put a feedback to the input, what you're doing, whether it be the process part, whether it be the input part. And this is what's going to allow you to make the changes that you need to get to your ROAS. So before, it would look input, process, output, but now it looks input, process, output, and getting all that data back into your process of what you're doing to make the data closer to your target data. Now you're updating the data, you're reading the data, you're creating the data, and you're deleting the data that you don't need. So if you're doing something that doesn't work, if you're paying for a consultant who's not giving you good results, you fire that guy. That's an update to the process. That's a removal to the process. If you feel like there's a particular thing, that the process that you follow, but you can add something into it that would make the data perform better and give you better ROAS, you're updating it. So everything that you can do with data, you want to manipulate it as much as possible. So now what you did when you take the feedback is you close the loop. This is called a closed loop system. And if you don't know anything about engineering, just know that everything you see, every electronic, everything that moves in with any sort of performance has a control system in it, and it has a closed loop control system. And the reason it is closed loop is because it needs the feedback to perform, or else it won't perform. You can have the best system in the world possible, but if you don't have the actual feedback coming in, there's no point in having that system. So this is a lot of abstract talk. How do you do it on a regular basis and implement it so you can see the progress no matter what domain you're working in? And the simplest way I can say it is literally take one day out of the week, dedicate 3 to 4 hours, sift through every little thing you did the entire week. And it's very difficult to do for me as well. It's a very tedious task, and it's not fun to do. It's basically you're looking at every piece of data throughout the week, what meetings went through, what ads didn't work, what ad sets didn't work, what clients churned, why did they do it? And all you're trying to do is accumulate all that data, and you're trying to sift through it and really fine tune what was it that you were missing. So that missing part is what you're going to update the process with, regardless of what you're working on. So all you have to do, take one day out of the week, really make sure that you're going through everything you did. You should have a goal system. If not, just let me know. I'll make a video of that. That's something I learned recently as well. But you should have that goal system. You should have what you want to target, and you take that feedback process every single week, and you go back into the process itself, and you update it. and you continuously do it. You continuously do it. Sam Ovens has a really good video on this as well. You continuously keep doing this, and this is what will allow you to make progress faster. You will have, it's not like you won't have progress without this. You'll have maybe like 10% of the progress you can have. So when you implement this, you get like a 10x return. It's one of the most asymmetrical bets on your time you can make to do this, because as soon as you do this, you'll see results, and you'll know what's happening more at an intuitive level. You'll know as you go through the week. It's like, okay, I should probably make a note of this, so when I do my weekly review, I can actually, come back to this and see what I did wrong here. So it's extremely important to actually implement the feedback system. I just wanted to give that engineering perspective to this, so that you really understand how important this is. Your car wouldn't run, your planes wouldn't fly, and literally nothing in the world would actually work if it didn't have a closed loop control system. And your success in whatever endeavor you embark on is not going to work if you don't have a closed loop system. I spent the first couple of my years in the entrepreneurial journey not even knowing about this. And it was one of the things that slowed me down the most, because I did not know what I was doing wrong, because I did not ask myself what I was doing wrong. So I kept doing the wrong things over and over again. And then when it came time, the results were not there. So it's a very simple input-output equation. But the biggest thing is that it's not a linear equation. It's actually more like a quadratic or an exponential. For those of you guys who don't know, linear is just going straight. Quadratic is like going straight up, like it's reaching for the sky. Or exponential is somewhat like that too. So that is the beauty of feedback systems. I highly recommend pick one day out of the week, go through everything that you set goals for the week, or key results or milestones you wanted to hit, why you didn't hit it, what can you do to hit it, and what is going to be the next steps. Outline them, go in the next week. Most likely by like a couple iterations, you won't have that problem anymore. So you just expedite it at a faster pace than your competitors, and that's how you beat the market. And this is applicable in everything. Like I said, product, best products are feedback design. They talk to customer surveys, they listen, they update the product. Client acquisition, you see response. If not, then you update your scripts, you update your angles, you update all that stuff. So super, super, super important. I cannot express how it's extremely simple, but it's very, very difficult to do, because the simplicity, the simplistic nature of this act of giving feedback makes it seem like it's unimportant. It makes it seem like it's extremely unimportant. And that's why most people don't do it. But when they do it, they see the results. So hopefully this video helped. I'm going to try to incorporate a lot more engineering principles into the videos, because I think life really all is engineering at its core. If you like this video, you know what to do. Share it, like it, comment. And if you have any video recommendations, drop it below. I'll try to make these as often as I can.